Hi everyone, so I'm back with another flip through, and this is all about our trip to Lille in France that we took in August 2020. And we only went for the weekend, so it was only a small trip, but I did decide to do a 12 by 12 album just because there is plenty of pages for like extra trips that we take to France, and I like to sort of keep them together if it's the same country. It's only if it's like an island that I will do a separate album, but if it's a land country as such, like for example France, the country of France, I will do one album. But if we went to Corsica, which is an island of France, I would do a separate album. I don't know why, but that's how my mind works for some reason. Anyway, I haven't done anything to the cover yet because I'm always really fussy with the cover, and it's always the last thing that I do, so it just gets to the back burner basically, unfortunately. So it will get done. I just don't know what to put on it just yet, so I'm sort of holding fire with that. So I used a lot of nice pastel colours for this album, just because I had so much in my stash, and I just thought it suited it really well because Lille was such a pretty town, and it was really like fairy tale like, and I just thought really light pinks and purples suited it really well. So I'm really happy with how this turned out. So we went in August just for the weekend, and we were supposed to go to Scotland, but due to coronavirus, the cases in our area, in our county as such, were rising, so Scotland put it on the no travel zone, so we couldn't go to Scotland. So instead we booked really last minute tickets on the Eurostar to Lille. Because we both work for the railway, we get really good price tickets for the Eurostar, so it didn't cost us much at all. And we were able to get refundable tickets, and we could cancel them up to an hour before we were due to depart, so that was really handy with what was going on and things. And it did come in handy because France, unfortunately, the cases were rising like really bad, just as we were sort of going to France, and we were a bit concerned that they were going to put it on the quarantine list in the UK, and which would mean that we'd have to come back and isolate for 14 days. I mean, it would have been okay for me because I work from home, but for Joe, we are both key workers, but Joe goes into work, so it wouldn't have been ideal to quarantine for 14 days. So we came back a day earlier, just in case, because there were rumours that it was going to get added to the list, and it did get added to the list, but a week later. So we would have been okay, but we played it safe. Anyway, so this is the first page. So this is our Eurostar tickets, and Joe was able to go and pick them up from London because he goes down to London pretty much every day at work, so he could go pick them up and get them there, because they're discounted, you can't get them online, so we had to physically go pick them up. So we've got nice big tickets, which I like. I love getting like proper tickets rather than paper tickets that you get online and stuff. And then I just use really nice pastel colours from a paper pad that I've had for years, from Poundland, which is like a sweet treat sort of 6x6 paper pad, and it just has some really cute patterns in it. And I also use some odd bits and pieces because I did actually run out of paper from that paper pad, so I had to use other ones from my stash as well, but it's always good to use up bits and pieces. So this is an envelope here, and inside, I won't get it out because it's got all our details on there, but we had to fill out a form to get into France, which basically is like a sworn statement that we don't have any symptoms, and we haven't been around anyone with symptoms and all that sort of stuff. So we had to fill out all our details for that. So I've just put a copy of one in there just for a reminder. Hopefully in a few years this will all be normality rather than as we are now with lockdowns and stuff. Hopefully we've gone back to a bit more normality, so it'll be good to look back on it one day. So this is just a picture of us on the train, and I've just used loads of embellishments that I've had for years. I finally used some doilies. I've never used doilies on a layout before, and I used up these pink and purple flowers that I've had for years. These larger ones, these came from the works. These banners, I think these came from eBay, but I think they're Dovecraft. And these little stickers and bits and pieces, they either came from Etsy or from a sticker book from the range from Craft Sensations. So there's loads of different embellishments all through here, like gems and stickers and washi tape and all sorts. I literally went a bit crazy with them. I also use a few of these. These are the Simple Stories 2x2 cut aparts from all sorts of collections, but I think I mainly use them from the Going Places collection and the Simple Stories Vintage Garden, maybe. But the washi tape that I've used, it's this purple diamond one which came from Paper Chase, and this cute sort of pink blossom one that I got from eBay. It came in like a pack of 8 or 10 or something, so I decided to use that one. So these are just about our accommodation and stuff. So this is when we got off the train, and they had this lovely Hello Lille sign outside the train station, so I took a picture of that. And then this is our room in our hotel. We stayed at the Hotel La Valise, and it was really nice. Joe made me actually change the hotel last minute because the hotel that I did book didn't have any aircon, and it was due to be about 36 to 40 degrees in France that weekend, so I knew he wouldn't survive without aircon, and so he made me change it. Luckily it was free of charge, it didn't cost us any more, but he made us change it to a hotel that did have aircon. But I'm so glad we did stay here because it was such a lovely hotel and it was so close to everything. So this is our hotel here, right between these 2 bars, and we stayed on like the 3rd or 4th floor. We might even stayed up here, I'm not too sure now thinking about it. But we had a lovely 2 windows that we could sit out of. Actually, we might be on the top floor. But yeah, so this is our hotel, and I've just taken some of the sort of ephemera that came from the room, and I just used up some random bits of paper that I had from numerous, just random bits from like the range and Hobbycraft and stuff. But yeah, I've just gone a bit crazy with embellishments, like the little love hearts from Paper Chase, the butterflies that I got from a charity shop once. I use these old Alpha stickers just to try and get rid of some of the numbers. I just have so many numbers from the Alpha sticker sheets that I'm just trying to sort of use up a little bit more. So this is just the views from our hotel room. Move the camera a little bit. So we had these lovely 2 big windows that we could sit out and look, and we had really good views. We had the view of the smaller train station, the local train station, so we could see everything going on. We could see these lovely buildings, and we could actually see the shopping centre as well, which we did go to quite a few times just for the supermarket and just to get an aircon basically, rather than the outside heat. But yeah, and I use this really nice doily, and I use this die cut from a pad from the works, and yeah, I just really like how this page came out, to be honest. The cute little drink bottles, this was the paper pad from Poundland, and I just used it because it was just so hot. Like, we just needed to drink all the time because it was just so hot. So yeah, so that is that. So this page is just, I use a map as a background because I just want it to be all about Lille and about what there is to do and stuff like that. So this is a map and just shows you where Lille is. You can see how close it is to the UK. So it's really quick. It's really quick to get there by train. I think it just took less than 2 hours on the Eurostar, which is better than flying because you have to obviously get to the airport. We have to, you know, be there 2 hours before, and then you have to travel from the airport to the city centre and all that sort of stuff. So it was just a lot quicker just to get the train. So this is just a map of Lille. I won't get it out, but it's just got, and also got some information about the timetables and stuff. It's just like a city guide, and then some more embellishments. So I've used these cute little macaroons. These came from Jolie's boutique, and I thought they were perfect for France. And then these are just some really cute pictures from our room as well. So this is just sort of what we could see at night. And it was really interesting. We just used to sit and just people watch basically from our room when it was like in the evening time, or when it was too hot in the afternoon. We'd come back for like a siesta sort of thing. It's just nice to watch out and see the people. So there's just some nice buildings, and I use this cute little bunting from Dovecraft, and the wood veneers I got from Dovecraft as well. So these are some photos of the old town. It was quiet in the mornings, and we realised that not a lot of shops opened before 10. You know, in the UK things open at like 8:30, 9 o'clock, so we were a bit shocked when things weren't opening at you know, until 10, 11 o'clock on a Saturday sort of thing. But it was just nice. It was nice to wander around the streets when it was quiet and it wasn't so hot, rather than, you know, wander around at 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon when it was the hottest part of the day. So we wandered into the old town, and the buildings were just so pretty. I just never knew Lille was that pretty. I always just considered like a stopover, because a lot of the Eurostar, you go from London to Lille to Paris, or London to Lille to Brussels. Like, it was, to me, it almost felt like a little bit of a stopover. I didn't realise how pretty it was. So I'm so glad we went, and it's definitely opened my eyes to like smaller places that maybe get lost due to bigger places like Paris. Like, you just instantly think of Paris when you think France, but there's just so much more to France than Paris. So yeah, this is just another map of Lille, and just some really cute embellishments. The paper behind is so cute. It's got little pink and yellow birds on it. So this is like the main square in Lille. It's just, the buildings are so pretty, like they're almost like gold. It's so pretty. Yeah, we just sort of hung around in the centre. We got some ice cream, and we just get some like drinks and just sit around and just enjoy the sun, basically. I was just so happy to be somewhere else other than my home country, basically. We were still unsure about going abroad, because obviously we didn't want to get stuck again like we did in Vietnam. And until you do get stuck, it's sort of, you don't realise how much it puts you off travelling. And I do worry about when people go, oh, I've booked to go here, and I'm like, oh, just be careful, and they're like, no, it'll be fine. And you know, you hear all these stories like, oh, we're stuck now, and you know, we're being quarantined. And I'm so glad we didn't go abroad, actually, to be honest. Apart from obviously this trip, I was just, the anxiety would have been too much for me. I think it would have ruined my trip if we'd gone to somewhere and then we had to take a test, or we got quarantined for whatever reason. I think it would scar me for life again. So we will go. Obviously, it hasn't put me off going abroad. I will do, but I just want things to go back to normal. I don't want to have to go somewhere where I have to get a test beforehand or get tested on arrival, because you just always have that chance of getting quarantined. So until that sort of stops, I'm not sure where we're going to go. Hopefully 2021 is a better year. Anyway, so yeah, there's just some nice photos. And then in France, you have to wear a mask everywhere you go, even outside. And because it was so hot, we did try and limit our time outside as much as we could, even though we wanted to see as much as we could. So we'd go out in the morning when it wasn't so hot, and then we'd come back for lunch, and probably about 2-3 hours, and then we'd go out early evening when the sun was starting to go down, just to avoid sort of wearing a mask in 40-degree heat, because it was just so hot. Like, you don't realise how hot your face gets when you're wearing a mask. So they just had these signs all around. And again, you know, it's probably a bit sort of bleak, but you know, it's nice to sort of remember this. And these are the sort of things that you want to remember later on in life, because then it sort of makes you realise how appreciative you are of your life now, sort of thing. So I'll never take my old life for granted. The fact that I could just jump on a plane for 30 quid with no worries, and now, you know, the world is being cut off due to coronavirus, I'll never take that for granted again. So this is a cute little, it was this lovely building in the middle of the square, and it's called the Stock Exchange, and in the side they had like a really cute courtyard that sold like second-hand books and almost like a boot sale as such. So we had a wander around there. It was just cute because it was nice to get out of the sun as well, to be honest. But yeah, it was just nice to look through some of the books, and they had loads of random bits like old postcards and photographs and stuff. So this page here, this is just a page about random bits and pieces, really. So this is this is the view from our hotel room, and this is a big shopping centre. It's the Westfield Eurolille shopping centre, and it's absolutely massive. We've got a Westfield in London here in the UK, and it's massive, but this was even bigger. Like, this photo doesn't even do it justice. It goes miles back. So yeah, it was massive, and we went a few times, one to get out the heat, and two because we'd go to the supermarket to get our like lunch and stuff that we take back to the hotel, just because it was cheaper than eating out all the time. And also because you had to wear your mask indoors or outdoors until you're actually physically eating, it was just hot. So we were just happy to go to the supermarket, get some bits and pieces, and go back in our room and sit out the window and just have our lunch there. So this is just a leaflet from the shopping centre, and inside I've just paper clipped all our receipts, not just from the shopping centre but from our whole trip, basically, because I know they're going to fade, and I'm not bothered about keeping them, to be honest. It's just until they fade, and once they do fade I'll get rid of them. But I've just put them in with a a paperclip temporarily. So that's the shopping centres, and then we went to go sit in the park a lot of the time, just to sit down, because again it was so hot. We'd get a drink and go sit in the park and just sort of chill out in the sunshine or the shade. So we enjoyed doing that, and then we just had a wander around. These are some really nice buildings that we walked past. And then this is about our food that we ate. We ate some random food whilst we were there, to be honest. Like, you always try to think, oh yeah, we need some French food because we're in France, and we did. But then you just get a craving for something that's completely off the scale. So we actually, for our first evening, we actually ended up at a Thai restaurant, at this street food, pattaya. And I didn't know this, but we actually have one in the UK as well. But it was really good. I had a Thai green curry, and it was so good. It was massive though, like I couldn't physically eat it all. And because it was hot as well, like you sort of lose your appetite a little bit when you're in the heat. But it was so good. So we ate there. And this is just a menu, and this is what our knife and forks came in, because obviously COVID. But these were amazing. These are these croissants, and obviously they were like buttery croissants filled with like chocolate chips, and then they had a full coating of chocolate on top of them, and they were absolutely amazing. They're only like €1.20 for two, so it was 60 cents each, and it was just amazing. And then this is like one of our sort of typically lunch sort of things. We buy 2 baguettes, some ham and some brie, and we just make our own sandwiches up. And we just love doing that on holiday, because actually, even though you don't have to go out to eat to experience the food, you know, sometimes it's good to go to the supermarket and just get some traditional, you know, French baguettes and cheese and stuff, and it was really nice, and we enjoyed doing that. So these are just some packets from bits and pieces. Like, we got some croissants in the morning, and then we did get some bread or like sandwiches and stuff, so I just cut out the wrappers and stuff and put them in there. And these cute little embellishments, these came from Jolie's boutique as well. There's like little bread and a croissant there, and there's a little perfume there as well, so they're cute. Ooh, not the camera. So this is all about ice cream and desserts. So there was this really famous place in Lille called Mert, which is, they sold these little waffles, which is a traditional sort of delicacy there. And I really wanted to try one, so we got one, and they're quite expensive. They're about €2.50 each per waffle, I think. And they were really good, but they were quite sickly. We got the traditional sort of vanilla, Madagascan vanilla flavoured one. You can get all sorts in them, but we got the traditional ones. But it was this really fancy building here. And so we went in, and I got the waffles, and they came in this lovely packet that obviously I've saved. But they also did these ice creams, and I got a strawberry sorbet one, and it was so good. And obviously France is famous for macarons and stuff, so there's these lovely ones in the window. And then this is cute. This came from a Dovecraft decoupage kit, and I put it all together. It's all done with like foam stickers. You can see that sort of like dimensional. I just thought it looked really cute there. And then we went for a walk in the park. We went to this really cute little place. There was actually a zoo, and that's where we were headed to, but the zoo was surrounded by this park. And we just had a wander around before we went to the zoo, and we walked past some really cute animals. There was like sheep and cows and all sorts, so we had a nice little walk around. And because there wasn't many people there, we probably shouldn't have, but we took off our masks a little bit and just breathed fresh air for a bit, just because there was no one around, but we put them back on as soon as we saw someone. But it was just nice to be out and about. I put mole watch here because we were sat on this bench, and under our feet we could see in the corner of our eyes the floor moving, like the ground moving. And Joe was like, there's a mole underneath here, and he was right. There was a mole trying to sort of dig his way up into the surface, and we were just sat there for about 30 minutes waiting for this mole to come up through the ground. And we just had a lovely time waiting for it. We never saw it, but it was definitely a mole, because the floor was literally scuffling. Like, it was really cute, but I was desperate for him to come out, but he didn't come out. And then there's these stalks that were in the water, and I've realised here, not now, but I realised this before, I've just never changed it. I've spelt stalk wrong. I don't know why I put stalk rather than stalk, so I need to change the AL to the OR. I don't know why I've done that. I must have had a blip in my mind. But yeah, there was a load of stalks around, and so I just got some pictures of those. So this is just us wandering around the park. So it was just some really nice flowers. So we got some cute pictures with the flowers in the background. And this was really early morning. This was about 8 o'clock in the morning, I think. So it wasn't too warm. But it was hot. By the time we sort of finished walking around, we were both sweating. But it made me laugh because they had these showers. Like they spray like, not like, it's not an actual shower, but it cools you down basically. And so Joe stood underneath it and cooled down a little bit. This was actually a I think a 4x6 card from Simple Stories, but I just cut it down to sort of match the doily, and I really like that. And these are just some pictures of the there was like an army base, a military base, and you're not allowed to go in, so it obviously tells you here that you're not allowed to go any further, but it was quite a cool building. So I took a picture of those, and then in the evening we had a few drinks in the bar just down by our hotel, and it was just nice just to relax and have a drink basically. So this was just the instructions on how to order. It's all in French, but I can read a little bit of French. I did French at A level, so I can read French really well, but I can't speak it very well. I'm not confident enough to speak it, but I can understand what that means. And yeah, we just got some drinks and stuff, and I used this cute little stamp that I got from, I think, Craft Sensations for that. I just realised I'm missing a K there. This is the problem with these little letters. I am trying to use these up because they're not the most stickiest, so I have to go find a K. And then we went to the zoo in Lille. So it was only €4 each, which was really good. And it was just a cute little local zoo. It wasn't like a big industrial sized one. It was only a little one, but it's got a map here. Again, I won't get it out because it's upside down anyway. But there's some really nice animals in there. So this is just a receipt. I photocopied that so it doesn't fade, but it just tells you how much it was. And yeah, it's just some nice animals. So the lovely birds. And then they had these, like an alpaca, not really too sure what that thing was, but it was really cute. It looked like a ferret slash mole thing. And the little meerkats and the red pandas, the rhinos, and obviously the tortoises. They also had, and this is where I fell in love with them, they had fennec foxes, and they were so cute, but I couldn't get a picture of him because he was asleep in his little bed. So instead, when I went into the souvenir shop, I got a postcard, just because it reminds me of how much I fell in love with fennec foxes when we went there. And then this was when we just went home. So this is just a nice postcard of Lille that I picked up, and just used some of the die cuts that I had. This is actually from a paper that I cut out, fussy cut all the way around, and these are our tickets to get home again. And then we did have to fill out a form for our border force here, just to say where we've been and stuff. So I'm glad we did. We were supposed to, as I said, have an extra night, but we did come home early just to sort of avoid the quarantine roulette is what we call it, here in the UK. But we had a nice time. We did everything that we wanted to do, and yeah, we just enjoyed ourselves. So I hope you enjoyed that, and I'm sure I'll be back hopefully with my England scrapbook, and then hopefully 2021 we'll be able to go abroad a bit more, so I'll be able to do more travel scrapbooks and the ones that I enjoy doing. Thank you, bye.